The Devil is a Part-Timer tells the story of Into Isla, a fantasy world that houses our main characters who are at war with each other. And when it seems that our hero has the upper hand on Satan and his henchmen, Satan opens up a portal that sends him and his henchmen to our world. And both Satan and his main henchmen are gonna have to learn to adapt to our world by making money. And the easiest way that Satan can get money in this world is by working at a job, like McDonald's.
Starting with the positives, this anime is hilarious. Seeing our main character, Satan, who goes by Sadao Mao, live daily life working at his job, going home to his small rundown apartment, only to be scolded by his henchman known as Shiro Ashia, or LCL, for spending too much money on things like a washer machine. He also scolds Sadao on the kind of food that he eats, which is pretty much McDonald's because it's the cheapest thing that he can get. And I love the banter between Sadao and Ashia. I think they work really well together, and they have some of the funniest dialogue together. And they're really good characters. I like them a lot. And it only gets funnier when they add new characters, one of which is Emi Yusa, also known as the hero from Into Isla, who went by Amelia. And she is hell-bent on destroying Satan, but when she sees that Sadao, or Satan, is being a pretty decent guy, she has to come to terms that maybe he isn't such a bad guy after all, despite all the horrible things that he may have done in Into Isla. Is it possible that he could have had a change of heart when he came to our world and has become more of a nicer guy, a more helpful guy? And yeah, I like that a lot. We also get to meet Chiho Sasaki, who is one of Sadao's co-workers, and she's really nice. She's the bubbly character that has a very cute voice. She's got big eyes, and she's one of those moe girls that can get annoying, but I found her to be really enjoyable. I think she's a nice lady. I think she has some of the funnier moments, and she's voiced by Tia Ballard, who I think does a fantastic job of bringing this character to life. And yeah, I really don't have much negative things to say about Chiho. I think she's just a nice character, and she has some really good chemistry with our main characters, and she just fits into the group. One of my favorite characters was Lucifer. I found him to be the funniest character in the show because he's just this internet addicted guy that wants everything but isn't really willing to do the work himself, and he is very much addicted to online shopping to the point where like it becomes a running joke that he keeps ordering stuff from Amazon, and it even gets to the point where there's like a lot of shit that just comes to this apartment, and it's really hilarious, especially when Ashia scolds him for the money that he spends. It's hilarious. Another standout positive I have for this anime is its English dub. I think Josh Greeley does a fantastic job of voicing Sadao Mao, and is one of the standout performances. Same with Anthony Bowling's performance as Shiro Ashia. I think he does a fantastic job playing the character, and both him and Josh Greeley do a great job just bringing these two characters to life, and that banter and that chemistry that they have is just perfect and wouldn't have happened without this English dub. Not to say that the Japanese audio is bad at all. I'm sure it's just as good, but whenever I watch this anime, it's only going to be in the English dub because I really like it. While this anime is a funny comedy, there is also some decent drama in here. With Emi coming to terms with Sadao being a good guy, I thought was done very well, and you get a really nice backstory as to why Emi has a hard time believing Sadao would just suddenly change his mind and become a good guy. And the anime does a good job of giving you her perspective, and I was able to easily understand her point of view. There's even some tension between the characters from Into Isla who are not too keen on Sadao, and they get into fights in our world, and I will say, the fighting is pretty good. I think it's pretty entertaining. The animation is done very well in those fights, and it's really nice to see. There's even a funny joke when Sadao goes into a fight, he takes off his clothes because if the uniform were to get damaged, it'll be taken out of his paycheck. I just think that's hilarious. Speaking of the animation, this was done by Studio White Fox, and I think they did a pretty solid job. It's not one of the nicer looking shows ever. You can see some jank within the backgrounds, and even some of the normal animation. It can be a little bit janky, but for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job, and it was pretty consistent all the way through. I don't really have too much negatives for this anime, other than that there are some characters who show up who don't really amount to much, in my opinion. There's a couple characters that show up from Into Isla, and they kind of just sit around and just provide stuff for Sadao, and they're not bad, but they could have been done better, in my opinion. I also wasn't a big fan of the OP or the ED. They're not bad, but they're just not for me. And that's really about it. Overall, there isn't too much negative stuff I have to say about Devil is a Part-Timer. I think it's a phenomenal season. And I could talk about the last episode of this season, but because there is a season 2, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. And keep in mind, I have not seen anything past season 1, so I don't know if season 2 will affect how good season 1 is. But for me personally, this first 13 episodes of Devil is a Part-Timer was phenomenal, and I really, really liked it. It's one of my favorite comedy shows of all time. I remember watching it back in the day in high school, thinking it was the funniest thing ever, and I'm glad to see that this anime held up very well. And I would honestly say that this is a great anime for people who aren't into anime because of how relatable it can be, of a guy who works at McDonald's or KFC, or a guy who is an internet addict that keeps buying stuff on Amazon. There's a ton of stuff here for everyone to enjoy, and that's one of the biggest positives I have for Devil is a Part-Timer, is that anybody can enjoy this. Anyways guys, that's gonna be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what you thought of Devil is a Part-Timer, and I will see you next time. Big thanks to Hanks Retro, Nasty Canasty, Nightcaps Nostalgia, Ash the Man, Miasma Senpai, and Warp Baits for supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome.